Welcome to Dream Farm. Today I want to talk about the PH Outdoors drill. This is the G8 on a 3-point hitch lift. And I got my friend Jared Mills here. He's doing a lot of food plots and had some questions that we can bounce back and forth as we talk about some of the features and some of the capabilities of this drill. Dream Farm is brought to you by Whitetail Institute. Research equals results. Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail app. Hoyt Archery. Stealth Cam trail cameras. Wildlife farming. And PH Outdoors food plot drills. I had trouble with the audio on these clips where I was showing the drill to Jared, so I'm going to piece together this review using voiceover and then interviews from other times when I had the drill out. I've planted just about everything with the G8. Soybeans, sorghum, clover, brassicas, lots of different blends like the Whitetail Institute Power Plant and other similar blends, rye, oats. In every situation, I've been really satisfied with the performance of the drill as far as doing the two things that drills have to do, and that is put the right amount of seed into the ground at the right depth. It's really all you can expect. Beyond that, of course, you want durability and usability. You want it to be something that's a pleasure to use and not something that you have to struggle with. But overall, like I said, I've been more than satisfied with the G8 personally. So let's talk a little bit about those key functions. Getting the rate right is pretty simple. It's a two-part system for adjusting the rate. There's a door opening on the side of the drill, and this really determines how large the cup opening is that the metering wheels run in. So if you look down in the bin, you can see that you've got in each one of the little dropper areas, you've got a metering wheel and you've got like a cup that it rolls or turns within, and the door opening adjusts how far that cup is away from the metering wheel. So that's one setting you've got to get correct, and then the other one is the actual rate that the metering wheel turns, and you adjust that with a friction clutch that's on the side of the drill. It's a pretty simple system. You just free it up. You can move it back and forth with a wheel to get the setting that you want, and then you can lock it back in place with the two knobs that keep it from moving while you're planting later. It's super easy to calibrate the G-series drills. They come with a calibration tray that you can pull right out, flip it over, and then put it back in place again. And then all you have to do is you turn the wheel, the drive wheel for the drill system. It's 26 times. You turn that thing 26 times, and then you weigh the amount of seed that fell down into the tray. And then depending upon the G model that you've got, then you multiply it. The G3, you multiply that number by 129. With the G5, you multiply by 81, 50 for the G8, and 41 for the G10. And that tells you how many pounds per acre that the drill is putting out. So if you know what you're supposed to be getting, then you can just make the adjustments either to the gate opening or to the friction clutch until you get that exact amount of seed. I've had really good success just going on the PH Outdoors website. They've got a seed rate setting table that tells you what the door opening and the friction clutch settings need to be for all the different kinds of seeds that you might use. It's really accurate. I mean, it's supposed to be used as a starting point. And I'm sure that in some cases, such as when you're using soybeans or seeds that may have a variety of different sizes, you might have to tweak it a little bit. But even with soybeans, I've had really good success just using the numbers right off this chart. And I've never had to calibrate the drill in, gosh, It's been a few years now since they came out with that chart, and it's been accurate for me on everything that I've planted. So I mentioned a second thing that every drill has to be able to do well, and that is to get the seed at the correct depth. And there's two ways that you adjust seed depth on the G-Series drills. The most obvious way is with the gauge wheels on the back of the drill. Each one of the disc openers is attached to the gauge wheel, which then determines how deeply it goes into the ground. So you can adjust every single one of those fairly quickly and conveniently, all the way from, I think it's a 1/2 inch down to 2 inches of depth. The second way that you can control depth is really just a way to tweak it, and that's to use the top adjustment bar on the 3-point hitch. And if you tip the drill forward, it's going to run a little bit deeper. So that method can get you any final adjustments that you need that you can't get just by adjusting the gauge wheels themselves. So the G-Series drills also have a number of different options that you can purchase to go along with it. You can get the seed bin dividers. This is really handy if you're trying to plant different crops. Like, for example, if you're running, let's say a row of fall rye next to a row of brassicas, next to a row of fall rye, etc. If you put the dividers in there, then you can plant multiple different crops on the same pass without mixing them. Another option that's really handy is the seed row cover plates. These allow you to block any of the droppers that you want to. So let's say, for example, that you want to plant sorghum or even corn on 22.5 inch rows. You could block 2, leave 1 open, block 2, leave 1 open, and now you're going to get, a different spacing or a different row spacing than you would have, just by using the standard drill. PH Outdoors also makes a small seed box for these drills, and I don't have one on mine, and I've planted seeds all the way down to clover and had good success with getting the rates right. If you're going to do it commercially, or if you're going to run a lot of small seed through, the small seed box might be a good option to consider. All right, so if you look at this now, you can see this bar. That's the same as what you find on the front of a tractor. So you can take standard tractor front weights and set them on that bar and lock them in, and that will increase the weight of the drill and give you more down pressure if you're going into really hard ground, or maybe something with a lot of thatch. The other thing that I've run into, and I'm definitely going to get some front cutters, so they make a kit where you can mount a cutter in front of each of the disc openers. So each of the droppers has a cutter in front of it that allows you to cut through the thatch, maybe make a little trench, an initial trench in the hard ground, so then the disc openers can run inside of that cut, because you have a tendency, if the unit's not too heavy, to ride on top. If it's really hard ground or if it's got a lot of thatch, you might just float on top of it, because the disc openers themselves aren't heavy enough to make that initial cut to open up the ground or to cut that thatch away. So that's another key thing to keep in mind. Depending on the type of soil you're planting in and the conditions, you may need to put the kit on the front that has the cutters or coulters, whatever you want to call them, that get that started, get that seed row started. So this one has got an Acre counter, Jared, that I haven't been using. And I should be, I suppose, but I kind of have a pretty good feel from using all the online tools, the number of acres I'm going to be planting, and then I don't need to log that from year to year. Right. I can look and say, it's 1.5 acres, I've got this blend, I need this amount of it. Right. But this would be useful to somebody that wants to, say, log the exact size of some of their plots, because they could get it down to the 1/10 of an acre.
Even guys that are doing projects for other people and
right.
charging by the acre. I mean, it's important to have that exact count.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're not going to have to guess then. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's everything. I think we've covered most of the key features on this machine, and I'm a huge advocate of no-till. After the couple of years that I've been doing it here, and you have any kind of dry conditions at all, you can't beat it putting the seed into the ground rather than setting it on top. Right. We even did a test this past spring, or this past fall rather, summer, get my months right here, but it was wet, and we compared broadcasting brassicas to drilling them, and the drilling was way better, even on a wet summer. I mean, we had way better stand when we got done after just a month of comparing the two, even 2 months out. You know, the drilled stand was just way better than the one that was just broadcast, even on a wet summer. So I guess, like I said, I wouldn't want to try to do this on a really serious level without some kind of a no-till drill.
Yeah. No, it seems like a very well-made machine for sure. And you know, really, it's simple. Like, I think if you're not familiar with it, it can be overwhelming, all the different settings and how it works in general. But you know, it's pretty simplified, I think, on this unit. One thing that was kind of interesting to me, you know, another thing that stood out visually is a lot of times, you know, you talk about your brassicas, your clovers, your small seeds. A lot of times these units have a separate small seed box, and this one's kind of an all-in-one. And obviously through your experience, it handles the small seeds just fine, and the same hopper as the big, you run the big seeds out of. So
when Paul, the owner of the company, told me it would do that, I was skeptical.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was going to have to mix like fall rye or something with my smaller seed blends in order to get them to feed right, but I didn't have to. I could just straight up run brassicas and clover right through there without having to mix them with anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. It seems like a well-made machine. I might just load it on the trailer and take it home with me. You good with that?
Second, put on your trailer. You better come with a bigger trailer or a bank account that can handle it. No, I appreciate your input, Jared, and you know, it's more fun to do these reviews when you can kind of bounce the ideas off people. So it was nice to have Jared here with some experience that, you know, we could kind of kick this back and forth. But yeah, I mean, again, they're not cheap, but if you're serious about this and you can save up the money long term, they save you so much time, so much aggravation, and they produce so much better result than just going the cheap way.
Real quick too, what other sizes does PH have?
They've got a 10, which is, you know, obviously 2 feet bigger. They've got a 5, and they've got a 3. And the 3, I think, has a tow kit. So you can run that,
Okay.
And then the 5 is really ideal for a small tractor because you have to have the lift capacity and the balance to handle the size drill. And they know at PH, if you tell them what you've got, they'll tell you what the setup needs to be. And they make an aftermarket lift kit, tow kit, they call it, that you could put on any of these. So like even that little tractor that I've got, I could get the 5-footer and get the tow kit.
So that's where you'd really want to add the weights though, because you can handle more weight if you're just towing it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of flexibility in what they offer. So again, if you have questions, just call them. They're really good about, you know, letting you know. In wildlife farming, they sell a ton of these. They do a lot of distribution for PH. So even if you're not able to get a hold of the guys at PH Outdoors directly, go to the wildlifefarming.com and work through that avenue, and you can, you know, get a lot of help there too.
Awesome.
All right, well, we appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you've learned something about drills today, and you know, it's a great tool, and I'm really proud to be able to use one on my farm here. So we'll see you back here again soon for the next episode of Dream Farm, and remember to always dream big.